Here is the third and final video for this short series I'm making. I have to break the videos up into, I think I'm allowed 15 minutes of high quality video on YouTube, so sorry they're all split up in three. And if you haven't watched the first two, you might say, what the heck is this setup here? Well, briefly I will say this setup is because this part, because it's a symmetrical part, is really actually very hard to scan. And I wanted to show you that you can scan a hard part with the Afina ES 360, or this is exactly the same as I pointed out in other videos, that this is an EinScan S scanner sold under the name Afina. Same thing. The idea of all this stuff, and this is different from my other videos because I gave it something better for the registration so that the software would line all the scans up. Software itself didn't know really how to line up something like this, because you could line it up this way or this way because it's the same all the way around. It's kind of like if you can imagine scanning a rubber ball. You know, what's the front, what's the top? So you have to give the software something for registration. So I just put random numbers, symbols around the bottom here, just hot glued on a piece of paper with stuff that could be used for registration. And I put black on this post here because black generally doesn't pick up. It didn't pick up very much of that black when I was scanning around. But my finished product came out great for something that's so hard to scan. Now you can do this same thing. This scanner comes with the scan table, but I wanted to do a manual scan on this one. It's just a cheap $10 Lazy Susan thing that you can get at most any box store somewhere. And I wanted to show that you can scan a hard part like this with a relatively inexpensive structured light scanner, as this EniScan. And here, let me take a seat, is my final product. Get away from the glare there. Came out really nice. I did a lot of scans at a lot of different angles. I did scans without this box underneath here. This was sitting on the table, and I actually put something under here and raised this up. You don't have to do any recalibration. Your important part is you keep your distance the same. So raise this up and tilt this and look down on the item to get down in these areas. And in this case, I finished up by raising this up so I would get up inside of here. So when all's said and done, a couple laps around in each different position, you get everything. Now this computer's running a little jerky right now because the memory is really loaded up with all the scans. The only thing you'll see here in this scan is this bump here, and that is because of an unscanned area on both sides where I'm holding it. Again, this setup here is actually from a David scanner. You could make something like this. This is just sitting here as a block of stainless steel. It's sitting there to add some weight and stability to this. And this guy is just here for another project I have. Again, a software registration. So I can tell the front when you're turning it around from the back of something. And again, the letters here for the same reason. Software registration, so it knows where to put stuff. So because of where I held this, I can edit this out in post-production. I can actually even, because this wheel center I want to be nice and strong, I'm going to 3D print this without any infill. So this is going to be a solid piece, and I can simply sand that off if I don't want to mess around with it. But this really came out nice, as you can see. And it just takes a little imagination on your part to think. It's like be the software. Think of what the software needs. Think of what the cameras need to see. From the back, you need to get up and look at those holes from that angle. It's almost like think of it as spray painting something. Same way this way. You need to look down. Think of it as spray painting. You need to do all the different angles to get that paint in all those different places. And I'll tell you what, like I had said in my other videos, I use a David scanner as my main scanner. I got this one really just to play around with. I've only scanned a few things with it. But for the money, I'll tell you what, for something that you can get now under $1,000, I think these sell for around $1,200 new. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. That's nice. And that's I saved this in an STL file. So like I said, I can print this out just the way it is. But I wanted to follow up so you could see the finished product. We spin it around to the back. There are little tricks with this software that you need to find out. I was looking online. I couldn't find anything specifically, but do some searching. There's little things like when you want to move, when you're left clicking and you want to move the whole object up and down on your screen, you need to hold your control button down. Hold your control button down. I can't do it because I have one hand here holding my phone that I'm shooting the video with. Hold the control down, hold your left click down, and then you can move this up and down the screen. There are other commands in here like that as well. I don't know all of them, but there are some hidden commands in this software. I did try the updated version of this software, and I could not get it to calibrate. And I really did not see any difference between this version of software for the EinScan S, Afina. As I said, it even shows both names on the header of the software there. I haven't really found any difference between the two, and I've seen that in some of the forums that people go back to the original version of this software. I believe it is version, let's see if About shows anything. Yeah, I've really got this computer bogged down now because I've got the memory. I just saved this. I'm good if it crashes, but my RAM is all loaded up with all these scans right now, and this thing is working really slow. But it didn't crash, and it's worked long enough to show you the finished product. And I am, see, it isn't even turning right now. Like I said, it is so loaded up, and when I could spin this, it was, you know, it was processing and spinning slowly, so it's probably going to crash soon. As long as I have it saved, that's good. So this is my setup. You have a lot of cords with these, and you don't want these to move your scanner around and stuff. So if there's any stickiness on these wires here, I'll clean everything up. But this is my setup here. Ran them over the back and then plug everything in. This is so again, you don't want the wires to be able to move your scanner around while you're scanning. That has to be rock solid. So I just taped them down. It's good if you can have a scanning area that is just for scanning, and you can leave it set up. Again, this does not come with the scanner. I set the where did I set it here? Oh, here's the auto table that comes with it. What I did with this is double-sided taped on here, but the top of this is just plastic, and it turns rather fast, and things that slide on it. So I put rubber on this. This is just on with double-sided tape. I did do it in 3 sections, but it fills the whole table surface, and this is to keep things from pretty much sliding off when this table's turning around. And I like using clay. Clay's your friend. The blacker you can get the clay, the better, to hold things in place. If you're gonna want to scan a pen or whatever you want to scan, you know, you can put it down there and just stick it on there. So clay is a big help. Try and put it in some area then where you can edit it out. And again, the black, this is kind of a dark gray. This shows up sometimes, but a lot of times the software does not pick up dark black. That's why this is black. That's why I have an old black t-shirt hanging behind the scan area. It won't pick up black or shiny chrome things. And I showed in the other video the spray that I use. This piece is actually aluminum, and that is sprayed with a chalk spray that I showed in the other video that works great. It just washes right off. I've used it on plastic in several different, I've used it on painted plastic. I haven't had it damage anything yet. So there's my funny looking setup. The scanner I'm going to sell, and I'll be going back to using my David software. And I might make one more video showing how this scanner, because it has 2 cameras in it and a video projector, actually is recognized by my David version 4 software, and it's recognized by David version 5 software, which is Hewlett Packard now. And only difference between version 4 and version 5, which I think I said in the other video, is that version 4 is for 1 camera. So it's just going to pick up one of these 2 cameras, depending on which one you have plugged in with your USB. And version 5, you can use 2 cameras. So it picks up both cameras. And I talk about that in the other video. There are several... let's see, we've got 1. I had to use this gang box here for USB because I pretty much ran out of USB outlets. I use a wireless mouse with this laptop because I can't stand the touchpad on here. So I have my little Bluetooth thing plugged in here for my wireless mouse, and that takes up one of my USB outlets. So you've got your HDMI, and then you have to set the screen up as a second screen for this, and that's all explained in the in other videos and in the documentation you will get with the scanner. So I pretty much ran out of USB outlets, and I used a powered, and I think it's important to use a powered USB hub when you're doing something like this, so it doesn't, so the computer knows that they're individual things plugged into a hub. I've had hubs already not be able to distinguish between different USB plugs, and they were like non-powered units and cheap little China things. So there you go. Have any questions? Let me know. Hey, thanks for watching.